Hello and welcome to another update video about Bitcoin. Bitcoin has now pushed a little bit higher after we've seen yesterday a retest of the trend line from above, and we now have a pretty clean 5-wave move to the upside. So we take a look at the relevant parameters for this week. Already shared them with you yesterday. For anybody who wants some confirmation, hasn't watched the last video, this is for you. What are the structures here that we're dealing with? Now, first of all, there is a short-term bearish count and a short-term bullish count. The week starts friendly for Bitcoin. I think it will really depend on how the stock market opens this week as well. Bitcoin might listen to that a little bit. We typically get a few fluctuations from the US stock market, even if it's just short-term volatility when it opens in this week. So we are, fourth week. So we have obviously still our WXY structure. It's possible that the Y wave is still unfolding. It's a complex correction. And in the white scenario, we're dealing with the Y wave, and in the Y wave, A wave down, and then a flat structure in an A, B, C. And then from here, a C wave down. And then we complete wave C of Y of 4. This is short-term bearish, but I mentioned to you yesterday that we actually also for this scenario watch for one more high, because even this C wave to the upside of the larger B wave, which started last Wednesday, ideally gets 5 clean waves, which we now have. We've even seen here this small inverse head and shoulders pattern. It's not the cleanest right shoulder, so I'm not sure if it's actually too relevant, but we had that inverse head and shoulders pattern that we talked about. And we've also seen that break of the trend line on the weekend, and then a retest, and now another push higher. So now we've got those 5 waves up. Those 5 waves to the upside give us now a pretty much complete looking 5th wave of wave 1 in the bullish count. We'll take a look at that in a minute. Or a 5th wave in the C wave in the short-term bearish count. And we need to do a U-turn in this region to the downside to basically, confirm that C wave to the downside. I'm now watching for a pullback, especially after these 5 waves. That doesn't mean a pullback happens. And it also takes a break below that sort of 62,950 level here, this last swing low, to suggest that a pullback has started, because at the moment, the short-term trend is up. And I wouldn't stand in the way of such a trend, right? But it takes a bit of a signal that a move down has started. I mean, the earliest signal is probably a break below those lows here from today, especially here the 63,660 level, yeah? And then obviously we've got some resistance now, structurally. We can add the VRVP for that actually. Here, no, not this, that's the average true range. There you go. So yeah, there seems to be a bit of a cluster here, precisely where we have this previous consolidation. So there is some structural resistance between 65,800 and 67,100 pretty much. Okay, so that's just a spike on the VRVP. That just indicates we could get a bit of a slowdown there, and maybe the price will finish. Yesterday I highlighted that it would be ideal to get that push in a 5th wave to 65 to 66K. And now we just need to be watching if the price reacts here to resistance, for example, this resistance area up there. In terms of, if this is the bearish C wave of wave B, then we can also calculate by using Fibonacci extensions, we can calculate relevant resistances. So this is generally a relevant resistance range for this kind of flat pattern. We've arrived at 65,595. This is the 1.236 extension. Above that, we've got 66,737. That's going to be the next resistance level, probably looking at the larger degree, because this is also where we are looking at that spike of the VRVP, and we have here this sort of consolidation phase. 68,667 would be quite a bit of a stretch. Would be a bit too long for that C wave in wave B. But ideally it finds resistance somewhere here, but obviously it doesn't have to, right? I mean, it's just sort of looking at what are the common resistances, in this C wave of wave B. And then it takes a break below that last swing low to indicate that a top of sorts is in place. The reason why we're looking for a pullback is because it would help us confirm if we've really bottomed here in a larger degree fourth wave. So looking at the short-term bullish count, we might have bottomed here in wave 4, but it takes a 1-2 setup to confirm it regardless. So we've got 5 waves up, which is the first condition, but as you've just seen, 5 waves up won't be enough to confirm that really a low is in place, because we could easily be in a C wave, which is also a 5-wave move. So just having 5 waves up is definitely not enough to confirm that we have bottomed. Yeah, we also need the 3 waves to the downside that follow, which would be the corrective pullback. And this should send us into that support region, which is defined between 58,360 now and 61,930. So basically, I've added here this support area already a few days ago. I have adjusted it with the price, and for the price to tell us basically what is the area that we need to find support in to confirm that we've bottomed last Wednesday. So 5 waves up, 3 waves down, that's the process that would set the stage for a 3rd wave rally in larger 5-wave move, which could then send us above 70K. Could this here just keep going? Yeah, I mean, it could, okay? So that's why I tell you that we need to see a break below those swing lows as a first indication that a top of sorts is in place. At the moment, this does not predict that a pullback will happen. It just highlights the risk is now high for a pullback, and that we can be watching now for a pullback. And if that pullback shows, this is the region. So it basically tells you about the risk, okay? But micro counts cannot predict the pullback. It just means that after having 5 waves up, it is always likely that this move gets corrected. Yeah, it's just that, for example, a 5th wave can easily extend. So if you want to trade for higher, then you can use those last swing lows as key levels. But for me, it's just now likely that it starts, but not yet. Okay, so it hasn't started yet. So we always need to see what the price is doing. So it might be worth, all I'm saying is it might be worth observing the price structure today for a potential pullback. And if that pullback shows, don't panic. You've got some parameters here to watch. Also, it might be the case that if we get that pullback, that we get a more extended retest of the trend line in case support holds. Yeah, this trend line could also offer additional support. Yeah, this is my update about Bitcoin. Hope you liked the update. If you did, please hit the like button, leave a comment and subscribe. And if you really like the content, then please check out the channel membership. Also make sure that you follow us on Instagram and Twitter for additional content. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye-bye.